Good day and welcome back to the podcast, the Red Devils Africa channel. We're glad to have you here with us. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoy this content and if you want more content like this. We're looking forward to the Watford preview. Watford versus Manchester United. Watford, a team that in recent weeks has struggled a lot. They're the second worst team in the Premier League. They're 19th on the log. They lost to Tranmere, which should say it all. They lost to Tranmere in the FA Cup. They have lost, I think, four games in the last 10, drawn 3 games that they probably should have lost, and then won 3. So not a team in great form. On the contrary, Manchester United have won 4, drawn 2, also lost 4, but those 4 victories came against some bloody decent teams. Well, Chelsea's a bit debatable actually. But anyways, straight into it, gentlemen. Is this a chance for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to make it back into top 4? It's against Watford, the 19th. Chelsea are looking a bit shaky at the moment. Spurs have 2 big injuries. And even Mourinho has said that he'll be lucky to make top 4 without Kane and Son. What do you think?
There's definitely a big chance, especially today, that Spurs are going to play against Chelsea. So those two are going head-to-head, and it could be a draw, or even any result will probably kind of help us. I'm hoping for a draw. But yeah, this is another chance for top 4. Just get the win and build momentum on it, because every time this door has been open, we found a way to let it slip. So I'm hoping we don't this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a really good chance. Look, Watford, it's kind of sad what's happening to right now, because it does seem like they will get relegated. They've been a team that's been very consistent in the Premier League, but it does seem like this will be the season. But they're very desperate, and desperate can be dangerous. So, as much as I do think we'll win, we have to be careful. There's only one way this team's going to play. An outlet will be, what's his name again? Taylor Fail, target man with Troy Deeney, and they're going to play on the counter. It's the only thing they're going to do. Unlike, let's say, not true, probably go for us, even if they're bottom of the table. These guys will sit back and counter. And if there's any game that we could play one holy midfielder and get away with it, it's this one, really.
Yeah, look, I don't think the way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sets up for this game matters too much. I think Watford in the final third are crap, and I think if you can't take your chances against Manchester United, you will end up losing or drawing. Well, if you have a solid defense, you'll draw. But if you don't have a solid defense and you're leaking goals like Watford are, then you'll lose 100%. Because I think Manchester United, you can criticize them as much as you want. You can call their football crap. But here's the reality. We are 5th. This might be our worst season, but we are 5th. We've beat the teams in the top 6. How did we do that? We did that by playing counter-attacking football. But here's the part that everybody doesn't mention. Everybody talks about how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer plays counter-attacking football. They don't talk about how Manchester United strikers are ruthless. Imagine having 14 goals in a team that doesn't create chances. Imagine how clinical you have to be. You know, a brilliant analogy was made on the United stand. Anthony Martial is like a kid going to a bus stop. If the bus is coming at 7 a.m. and there's no bus after that for the next hour, you're going to make sure you get to the bus stop 5 minutes early so that if anything happens, you have a 5-minute cushion. However, if there's 2 buses and the next one is coming at 10 past, you might not care about the 7 o'clock bus. You might miss the 7 o'clock bus and be like, oh, well, you know, at least I took my time brushing my teeth or whatever. And that's Manchester United. Anthony Martial knows he's not going to get as many chances. And I don't think many strikers in the Premier League would have scored the goal that Anthony Martial scored against Chelsea. He was alone in the box with 3 defenders, and he scored a header. My point is, we don't need that many chances against Watford to put them away. If we do draw to Watford, and it's a 0-0 draw, it will be because we didn't take our chances. Look, I don't feel threatened by this team at all.
I agree with you 100%. I do think it's something we have to look at. I feel like we neglect that and don't give our strikers the credit they deserve. But if this was any other league, I wouldn't be worried whatsoever. But I've seen this happen time and time again. It actually happened with us with Watford a few months ago in the Premier League.
Yeah, that was away, though.
Did we win?
No, I said that was away, though.
Okay, yeah. But still, these teams that have good players, because teams in the Premier League have good players, are struggling. And they have a team like Man United, and they feel motivated, and it kind of works as a springboard for them. And I do think we'll win because we have so much momentum at the moment. But the Watford is the type of team that could sit back, counter, win, and after beating us, go on some other run that helps them.
Yeah, they could. But Norwich could also beat United. Norwich could also beat Chelsea. Heck, Norwich could beat City. They could. No, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to say they won't 100% bet my house that they won't beat us. But I just think that if United throw away this game, it's because United threw it away and not because Watford were a good team. I'm not. I really don't have that much respect for them after seeing them over the last few weeks. I don't watch them, but I do watch highlights.
If you play well, you could say we should definitely win.
Yeah, we should. And the thing about Manchester United is relentless at keeping clean sheets as well. So Watford really have to get lucky if they want to try hit us on the break, because they're going to need more than just a few good chances with the quality of their team to get one past United. I mean, just look at the way Chelsea played on that evening and how well Manchester United defended. And yeah, you could say Chelsea should have taken their chances, but they didn't, and that's my point. If a team like Chelsea bottles so many chances, a team like Man City in their own backyard bottles so many chances as us, because of how, especially when we play a back five, because of how we pack the middle and the back. You know, Oli likes doing that thing where he says get compact. Funny enough, it actually does work well defensively, and that's the only thing I credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for. So I think if Watford are going to win this match, they need to have a good attacking strategy, and they need it to work at least once or twice. But
I feel like
I just don't see them creating enough chances. I think. Look, I will say this: if Watford can nick an early goal, or if the game can stay 0-0 long enough for Watford to steal it at the end, then yeah. But I don't think they'll just out and out beat us.
To be honest, looking at the team Watford is, if we bombard them with attack, I just don't see that happening. I think we could hit them for 5 or 4. I think they're that bad if you put them under pressure. I feel like if we kind of give them space and give them time, obviously anything can happen. But that's what I was saying. I'd like to see the one holding midfielder, which probably won't happen, and probably shouldn't, because you shouldn't chop and change. But this would be the perfect game for it, because with Norwich, they're going to come for you, so you can't do that.
I can tell you. I can tell you this for free. Manchester United are going to have a lot of the ball, and Manchester United are going to create a lot of chances against Watford because Bruno Fernandes is there, and Fred. If Bruno Fernandes and Fred play together, then it doesn't matter what formation we're playing, because they will run things in the midfield. And because Watford are that crap, like maybe last year I wouldn't be saying this, because last year was a different story. But right now we're talking about the second worst team in one of the worst Premier League seasons of the era. So like you take that statement with a pinch of salt and do whatever you want with it. But the reality is Watford is not that good at the moment. And if we hold the ball, I think we will create a lot of chances. Will we play like a Man City? No. Will we play like a Liverpool? No. But we might be able to do what we did against Norwich and just run away with the game, or what we did against AZ Alkmaar, where we just blow them away. We just need that one period of good attacking prowess. And I think with Bruno in the team, with Martial and with Fred, it could happen, because we did it against Chelsea. We didn't beat them 3 or 4-0, but we ran away with the game. We scored one, then we scored another one, and then we defended. And Watford are not going to be a team that's going to bombard us in terms of attack and put us under a lot of pressure, unless some magic switch gets flipped, you know. It's interesting. I think, to answer my own question, this is a huge chance for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to get top 4, and I think that it's an opportunity for him to sort of redeem himself in the dressing room, because I think for a lot of times the players would have had their heads down, and there has been news of players dropping their heads and thinking about downing tools, or just not feeling it, or not believing in the coaching. I think if he does get himself back into he is in a top 4 race. If he does get himself into the top 4 and Champions League football looks more like a reality and less like a distant fantasy, I think the players will feel motivated, a bit more motivated to play for this team. And perhaps maybe a few players will be motivated to stay. Who knows? But we'll see. Predicted XI? I don't know about this one. What do you guys think?
I think it could happen. I don't see only. I think the only other thing is the 5 at the back, or 3 at the back, however you want to look at it. But I think if he does play 4 at the back, I think this is how we'll play. McTominay is back. I don't know if we would rush him back. Greenwood was sick, So I think he could play, especially because he hasn't played the Europa League games and stuff like that. And, a game against Watford might not be too risky for it. I think James would play. And Bruno Martial, yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think I said this the Europa League game and it didn't happen, but I want to say it again. I don't think he'll play the 5 again. I think he played that because he had to make a lot of changes, and I think he'll try his utmost to play this formation. How he does it maybe is the tricky part, and yeah, I guess maybe he could play the back line and Matic and Fred. I think definitely will happen, but the front 4, I don't know how he'll go about that.
Well, I'm not going to go on another rant again because I've given my opinion, my personal opinion, on the front 4. And then I've also given my opinion on what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will do. And again, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not a risk taker. He's not going to move Martial out to the left so he can play someone down the middle unless it's Igalo, who's in good form. Igalo's not in good form. He's not in good nick. He's struggling with fitness and he needs minutes to get himself up to the... He's carrying a bit of weight at the moment and we can't deny that. Yeah. Greenwood's been very inconsistent. So Greenwood ain't going to start in such a big game. It's not a good team. Yeah, it's not a good team, but it's a big game, and the magnitude of this game could make or break Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's next few months. So I think, and then on top of that, just to end off, on top of that, Martial wants to play number 9, and he's been doing decent in that role. So I really don't see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being like, hey, I'm going to play this guy on the left, and I'm going to play Greenwood down the middle. It's not going to happen. I think what will happen is Martial will 100% play a striker. Dan James might get back into the team, and then we'll see Pereira or Lingard on the right, or Mata on the right. Like, that's what we're going to see.
Yeah, I think we'll see Mata on the right and Daniel James on the left.
Possibly. But this is very unlikely. I don't think Greenwood will start next to Martial unless it's a back 5 and they're both playing a striker. Or unless it's some sort of weird diamond.
I think in any formation, Daniel James shouldn't start.
Well, the only thing I would say about that is, if you're asking me, I think that's a bit harsh. I think Daniel James should start some games, not because he deserves to, but just because of where we are at the moment. I think Mata can't play every game because he's an old man, and he can't even play a full 90 minutes anyways because he's an old man. So Mata's going to need to rest at some point, and who do you start when Mata rests? If we're talking about the wing position, has to be done.
But I feel like James desperately needs a timeout at the moment.
He does, but then the thing is, look, if we had a replacement, I would agree, but we don't. So it's a hard. He shouldn't be playing, and I think he shouldn't be playing. I think he does need a break, and he's had a break. He's had a bit of a break, so hopefully he can come back with his head in the right place, but his feet will still be the same as they were. So I don't think we'll see much of a difference. Maybe just a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Who else do you play though? Like, Lingard needs a break. Pereira needs a break.
Yeah.
Dan James needs a break. Mata needs a freaking... I don't know. He needs a Gatorade, an Energizer.
Lingard's not great, but because... Yeah.
No, I was just going to make a joke. I was going to say Mata needs anti-aging cream. But anyways.
He needs more than anti-aging cream, mate. He needs like a leg transplant. No offense, Martin. Love you. Yeah.
Because of the team reversing, I think Lingard could work.
It could. It could. Lingard could work. Like, I mean, he worked against Tranmere, so he could. The thing is, like, it's so fashionable and easy to go in on players for Manchester United at the moment, and I'm really not concerned about that. Like, I've moved past the hatred towards Jesse Lingard as a footballer, and for some people even beyond that, which is embarrassing, because you should separate the person from the football. But anyways, I've moved past that because, like, nothing's going to change, and being angry at him or being upset in the heat of the moment is fine, but carrying that over and actually formulating an opinion about him based on those emotions is just a little bit toxic, and it doesn't help anyone. So if Lingard plays, I won't be too mad. I just hope that Bruno and Fred play in this game no matter what, so that we can give ourselves the best possible chance of running Watford out the park.
Yeah.
Early on.
Yeah,
that's all I hope for. Like,
because The thing is with Watford, like like Moloto was saying, I agree with what Moloto was saying earlier. When you're in relegation and stuff like that, and you're fighting for your life, desperation could be very dangerous. And I do have faith in Watford's Dini and Telefoyu on the wing to get the goal, or at least take one of their chances. So I feel like it could happen. But overall, I'm still confident. I think we should pass the game. I feel like we should do what we do and get the dub.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being definitely we're going to win and 0 being we're not going to win at all, I think I'm at a 6.5 with this game, like 65% sure that United will win.
Yeah.
The other 40% is because of the plays you just mentioned and the fact that Watford are a desperate team, and I'm not going to discount that because, as cliche as it does sound, that is the reality of the Premier League. Any other league in the world, this would be a done deal. But the Premier League is that competitive, and this season in particular, it's so inconsistent, and we've seen the craziest results. So you never know.
Exactly.
But it's an unforgivable result. So if and
yeah,
I wouldn't even look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sets up incorrectly for this game, whatever you define as incorrectly, and then on top of that, we still play poorly and don't create any chances, or we just don't look like we're in the game for a large part of it. For me, I'm going to be very upset at Ollie and at the players. Very upset. Because I just don't see how you can bottle this game. Like, player for player, in our front six, or front five, whatever you want to call it, player for player, we should beat Watford's defenders. Ignore Bruno Fernandes. Matic, Fred, Martial, Greenwood, or whoever plays down the right-hand side or in the middle, like, they should make something happen,
Yeah.
And like, I just won't be able to forgive us, especially at home. Like, if this was away, different story. But at home, we need to win. We need to put this one in the bag.
And every time, like I said, every time top four has opened up again, somehow we always bottle it or let it slip. So this game, we can't. We just, we just got to get the job done.
This is different, though. This is different. Every time we've had top four in the past, it's always been but they're 12th and they're on a run, or they just lost the game. And this time we've got top four and it's against a team that's 19th. Like, let's not make let's not beat around the bush. It's against a team that's 19th.
Yeah,
They're
it should be job done.
They're crap. They lost to Tranmere. They're crap. Let's not size up Watford too much. They're crap. It's like versing Norwich, and it's an unforgivable result. It's almost like the opposite end of the spectrum, if you will. It's like when people were saying we might beat Liverpool because Ollie does so well against the top six. That was different, though. The second time it was different. Yes, we beat Liverpool last year, but this time you're going up against Liverpool that looks like they're going invincible. Things change. The context changes. And you can't just say, well, we've done it 5 times before this, so it's definitely going to happen this time, because that's not how football works, unfortunately. So, I understand the patterns, and I understand that we should be mindful of that. And I ain't getting my hopes up. I'm just looking at this realistically. Yeah. And realistically, United should win. And if they don't, I'm going to be a very unhappy man in that match.
So would I. I mean, there shouldn't be any excuses about this result. Just go in, do what we do, and get the win.
Yeah, even if we play crap, we should still beat Watford. There should be one chance where Martial just, famous last words, score predictions.
I'm gonna say 2-1 United. I was gonna say a draw, but we can't.
Safe.
United need to win this game. 2-1 United.
That's such a safe prediction.
Look, not winning would be unforgivable. There's a very big chance. I mean, almost at the end of the season, Chelsea and Tottenham are playing each other, and that game is a draw all over it. And as much as I've tried to defend Watford, I just don't see how we don't win this game. So you might think my prediction's outrageous, but 4-0.
I don't think 4-0 is outrageous. I think I would go with more of a 3-1/2-1, just to make myself feel a little bit more protected and my emotions a bit, don't get my hopes up too much.
But it could just be one of those days, where every ball that Bruno puts into Martial, he scores. It just could be one of those days.
Again, it's similar to the AZ Alkmaar game or the Norwich game. We don't need to hit the ground running in this game. We just need to do what we always do. We need to defend well, get a clean sheet, and then maybe in transition play, get a couple of goals. And if we can do that even if it's in the second half, hopefully it's not in the second half, but even if it's in the second half, I think we can blow Watford away because I think they're so fragile at the moment. I think Watford is that team that you play in FIFA that they're difficult until you score, and then all of a sudden they're just panicking.
Yeah,
you know,
then they
it's
just
one
break.
of them things.
That's the one
Yeah,
thing
they
with the
just break.
relegation sides. Is
Yeah,
when
you can
and
just
it-
get one
one goal
break.
and it's over.
You know, so
But if
I
Watford
think
get the first goal also, oh my lord.
the desperation might play into our hands. They might do something stupid like relegation teams do, and we just need to make sure we keep our cool at the back. Because say what you want about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, say what you want about Manchester United this season, defensively we're pretty solid. I think when you play with two holding midfielders, sometimes three at the back, with the three at the back, that's worth over probably
And we
close to
invested in our
pounds.
defense. So it's not as
Yeah,
if we have
like-
players.
You have three centre backs who are probably worth 200 million pounds together and have the highest wage bill. And then on top of that, you've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka next to them, and you've got Brandon Williams next to them, and then you've got two holding midfielders in front of them. You're going to defend well, and then you still have one of the best goalkeepers in the world. There's no excuses. Clean sheet against the worst team. Cool. Can you get the goals going forward? We'll just have to wait and see. Just before we wrap up the show, I think it's important that we talk about this as Manchester United fans, you know. And if there's any Spurs fans listening to the show, first of all, I'm surprised you're watching the show, so welcome. But second of all, my DMs are open, you know. My DMs are open because I heard Jose started with his mind games again. He flipped at a what was this guy? A journalist. So
Yeah,
a journalist
interview,
came out
yeah.
and asked if Spurs. So this, I don't know what he said word for word, but this is essentially what he asked. Was RB Leipzig really good today, or was Spurs bad? And Mourinho's response was as classic Mourinho as it can get. And then he was just like, you think we're bad? Great question, mate, great question. And he just walked out. And I was like, yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it's nothing. He also said the thing
Yes,
about,
it's not-
he was asked about the United coming second is his greatest achievement. And then
he said-
supposedly, I don't know how true it is, and he said, if I get
He said-
top 4 at Spurs, it'll be my greatest achievement.
Yeah, he said if he gets top 4 without Kane and Son, it will be a miracle, and that will be his greatest achievement. And I just thought, wow, bro, like that's cold. Because what is the guy who's trying to take Harry Kane's spot supposed to think? Whoever that is at Spurs. What is the guy who's coming
Just a
on to get
morale
Kane
boost.
over Son? Yeah, like what is the rest of the team supposed to think when you say this guy, who everyone says is the best in the team, even though we play and give him the goals? They're saying because he's out, we're not gonna, like, come on. Like, you still have 11 men. You have Lucas Moura. Like, you have
I think
a team.
I think
Come
that
on.
is Jose's biggest downfall, to be honest. He's good in a lot of departments, but then the things he says in public about his players really do kill the team morale. And we've seen it every single club he's been at. You can't just say that. I mean, you see, if something like that happened to Pep, he'll be like, no, but we've got a lot of good players. So we'll keep going and keep trying and see what
The
happens.
thing is, also,
that.
like, you know, he doesn't even say I'm just joking. Like, with Jose, he's such a manipulative box office character. Like, he's got this smirk on his face when he talks, and you'd never know if he's being serious or not. And I just think when after that game specifically, all of that started to fade away a little bit when he asked that question, when he stormed out actually. After that RB Leipzig question, and those are the moments where I'm like, maybe this guy isn't joking, maybe he is just a dickhead, and maybe his players do actually hate him. Because for a long time internally, I've grappled with Jose Mourinho. You know, obviously before he came to United, he was one of my favorite managers in the world. After he left United, he still was one of my favorite managers, but I don't like him as much as I used to, and I'm actually starting to resent him a lot because I defended him for years, you know, and I always thought that he was just a guy who loves playing mind games. And I just thought, you know, this is Jose just being smart. You know, he's wiling everyone up so that he can work on his master plan in the background. But sometimes I think maybe there is no master plan. Maybe this guy is just a baby who throws his toys out the pram every time he doesn't get what he wants.
Yeah.
And it shows in the way he just stormed out there. Like, if he was joking, I think he would have laughed or something, or I think it would have been like, next question. But he actually stormed out. I don't think that's a joke. So, if you're a Spurs fan, again, my DM's open, you know. I know that Mourinho depression is hitting. But, anyways, gentlemen, I think that about wraps it up, unless you want to talk about anything else.
No, it's just, you know, obviously Gallo is coming back to his old club. I'm sure
That's true.
he'll get a few minutes at the end of the game because he does
surprised to
some
see-
much fitness.
I was surprised to see Garlo in a Watford shirt, actually, on the poster there.
Yeah.
I was a bit confused for a sec actually. I was like, wait, what?
So yeah, hopefully, maybe he comes on towards the end of the game and does something.
Yeah, I think.
What
I
do
think
you-
get?
Yeah.
I think I get a few more minutes. Like we better win. I even bet money on this game. So if we lose, it's even worse for me.
Where are you with Igalo? What do you think of Igalo? Two questions. The first question is, where are you on Igalo in terms of confidence? Do you think he will start to pick up form? And the second question is, what do United need to do in order for him to pick up form? And here's why I'm asking. I'm asking because personally, I'm a bit worried for Igalo. I think he will pick up fitness eventually and will become a core part of the team eventually because of, injuries and the inevitable catastrophe that's coming for United. And the second reason is that I think, or the thing that worries me, is that I just worry about the way we play and whether or not we create enough chances for a striker like Igalo because he is a poacher. So what do you think of those two questions?
Well, in terms of the confidence, I'm pretty confident in Igalo, and I think Igalo feels that he's like he can do something in the team. I just think the way United should do it is how they're doing it currently. I think I'll raise my hand, I was a bit naive to think he could play a full game and stuff. He is unfit, so just bring him on later game so he gets match fitness. Make sure he starts training with the team now properly. Don't rush it. And yeah, our expectations as fans are not as high as Igalo, so there's not too much pressure. And I think if Igalo does get a chance like he did when he made his debut in 5 minutes against Chelsea, you could take it on another day. As soon as he starts getting match fitness up and, the rust starts to fall, he starts remembering football, Premier League, I'm sure the striking awareness will come back and he could get a goal or two.
Yeah, look, I can tell there's potential. I can see a lot of great attributes in him, but I just don't know how far I should be confident. So I don't know where I stand completely on that. But in terms of him playing, I just think he might struggle. Eh? I can see him being a French player. I can see him being a French player for some time. Because I feel like Ole is reluctant to start him. Now it's acceptable because he's fit. But I feel like he will be reluctant going forward because he likes the whole Martial up front thing. But training is only the first part of it. You need game time. You need to play games consistently, and you need crosses. So we need to change slightly how we play, and he needs to start games. And that's the only way he's really going to catch form.
That's the problem, though.
Yeah?
Do you think United will do that? I don't know. Do you think? I think the only way that happens is the only way that definitely happens, like certainly 100%, is if Tony has an issue or a bit of a niggle or knock. Then Ollie's got no choice. But if Tony stays fit, do you think that happens?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's why I say I think he might end up being a French player, which is a bit sad.
It's a bit sad.
So. And because you're in the later stages of Europa League, that's where we usually give players game time. I don't think Ollie would risk it that much unless first game aggregate is like done and dusted.
And again, you can understand Ollie because throwing him in the team now, maybe not now, but like soon, and just hoping it'll click is a bit dangerous considering we're almost at the end of the season and we basically need to win every game.
Yeah, and like if you're Ollie out or whatever your stance is on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and you hate anything he's going to be doing over the next few months, I would ask you to give him a bit of think about giving him a bit of sympathy, because at the end of the day, if any one of us was in that Manchester United job right now, we would be doing what's best, not only for the club, but primarily for our future at that club. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows more than anything that Champions League football is important. It is literally, or probably, the difference between him being in a job and not being in a job. And then on top of that, still playing good football, potentially, depending on what you think. But I think that the debate about Champions League football is it's non-negotiable. I think it's very obvious or very clear that the club has been talking to other managers, Pochettino being one of the very likely candidates. And I think I don't trust all these rumors coming out in the club saying that Pochettino is 100% going to be our manager next season, because I don't believe our board does anything 100%. I think every time something's been 100%, there's always a chance of something changing. Look at Bruno Fernandes in the summer. Everyone thought he was 100% coming, and then something happened. Nobody knows what happened, but we just didn't get Bruno. And that's very possible with this club. So I think if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets Champions League football, he would be doing himself and Manchester United a huge justice. And I can understand why you wouldn't want to play someone like Odion Ighalo. And on top of that, this guy is here for on a 6-month loan. So let's not forget why he's in the team. Like, he's not here as a solution. He's just here as a desperate signing that we'll only use if we need to. It's sad, but it's true. And everybody's sort of flip-flopped and hopped on the, Ighalo's such a likable guy train, and I hope he does well. Whereas 24 hours before that, they were all saying, this is such a trash signing, this is such a trash player, who is this Ighalo guy? And it's like, just manage your emotions and your expectations just a little bit, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. I can tell you that much. It's going to be a bumpy ride, man.
Yeah.
If you're a United fan by now, you should know. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like part of me feels like he was never brought in to start. He's just here in case something else happens, because we saw injuries have been a problem for us. So
he's a desperate signing. Yeah, he's a desperate signing. He's a signing that Manchester United never in a million years thought they would make. But 11 hours, transfer window's about to close. You need a striker. Joshua King has said 25 million. Well, Bournemouth has said 25 million. And Joshua King's posting about potentially joining United. And then Ighalo pops up. And he's this massive fan of the club. And then all of a sudden it makes sense. Top goal scorer at the AFCON, blah, 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 blah. You get him into the team. But I don't think United in a million years would have thought that they would have made the signing. And I'll say it again, and I said it during the transfer window. The problem with this signing is not the player. It's just how symbolic it is of where we are as a club. Even if we had signed a better striker than Odion Ighalo, even if we were sat here talking about Edison Cavani or someone like Edison Cavani who has a lot of pedigree but hasn't really been consistent in the last few months, I think as much as we would have looked at the name Edison Cavani and been like, it's okay, I think we would have still been worried as United fans, because why did we wait till the last day? Whoever it is that we signed, why did we wait till the last day and get him on a very sketchy loan deal for only 6 months? It's embarrassing, and that's no disrespect to Ighalo, but it's embarrassing that we are waiting 6 months and then a full transfer window to sign someone who left to replace someone who left in the summer. And it's just, with Ighalo, it's sad, but the reality is he's just a desperate quick fix, a short-term fix to a long-term problem. Yeah. But hopefully he can nick a goal or two. Maybe I think what I will say about Ighalo is, if he does get a chance at the end of the game as a sub or whatever, and he does score, that'll make Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's mind a little bit easier. You know, it will put it at ease.
Hopefully the former team really picks in.
Yeah, the worst thing for Ighalo is if he goes on a goal drought. If he comes on, doesn't score, comes on, doesn't score, comes on, doesn't score, Martial injured. And then Greenwood's there, who hasn't played in like a month. But Ighalo's also there. He hasn't had enough time in the game to make an impact, but also in the little time he's had, he hasn't scored. What do you do? That's the worst scenario for him. I think he just needs to get himself a goal and just get rid of that bogey. That first goal bogey. Yeah. Anyways, I think that does...
Off topic, quick before we end, because obviously we are doing this in present time here. I just looked at the Chelsea lineup ahead of Tottenham, and Frank is playing 5 at the back.
Oh my gosh.
So let's see. I don't think that lineup will suit them, but let's see.
Before the end of the show, this question is for Reta, but anyone who's listening to the show, you can answer this question. You can actually do what you want with it, even if you don't get down in the comments down below. Just think about it. You brought up Frank Lampard. Reta, I have this question for you, I asked Shawnee a question on the show yesterday. I'm not going to get into too much detail. It's a very simple question, right? Would you rather have boring defensive football and win trophies, or would you rather play open attacking football and be in a top 4 race every season for the next 3 or 4 seasons?
Boring football, to be honest.
Interesting.
Boring football. Because I love attacking football, and if there's maybe a plan going forward, like maybe we'll win trophies in the next 5 years, I can wait for that. But I don't want to be in Arsenal. I don't want to be playing amazing football and just making top 4 and winning nothing. At the end of the day, you do want to win trophies as a club, and you do want to leave a legacy. So I'll definitely go with the boring football.
Yeah, and the reason why I bring that up just before we end the show, and this is the last thing, The reason why I bring that up is because I want you, whoever's listening to the show, as a Manchester United fan, if you're Ollie out, and you're Ollie out because you think we're going to get Poch in the summer, I want you to think long and hard about what Pochettino is going to bring to this club. Because if Pochettino does not get a fat transfer budget or a good enough transfer budget to get the players he wants, he's going to be trying to play an open, expansive attacking play with this current squad. Now ignore the starting 11. Ignore Bruno Fernandes, ignore Fred, ignore Matic, ignore Martial, ignore Rashford, ignore those 5 players. And then the defense doesn't really matter that much because they're defenders. Do you think that Pochettino will win trophies if his backup for his system that he played at Spurs is someone like Pereira, is someone like Lingard, is someone like Mata? And if you can answer that question honestly and open-heartedly, then I think you can answer the question I just asked Rita. Do you want Poch to come here and play good football and struggle to make top 4 for the next 3 seasons because this board ain't going to back him financially? They might, but the scenario is that the board isn't going to back him financially like they haven't backed the last 4 managers. Do you want that? Or do you want to wait till May, see if this clown of a manager makes top 4, gets Champions League football, and he's already gotten a budget to spend. He's already brought in Bruno Fernandes. He's already brought in Maguire. He's already brought in Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So he's already spent a lot of money. I know the net spend is not a lot, but there are players in this team that, whether you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer brought him in or not is irrelevant. They're part of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's squad. Like when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer leaves, we'll say these are the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had. There's players Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has brought in that have made the squad better. Do you want to see where that goes, or have you completely written him off, and do you want to just see good football regardless of the trophies? Answer that. Get down in the comments if you want to. But have a long, hard think about that before you jump on this Poch train. Because Spurs fans were pissed with Poch, you know. They were playing good football, but they were pissed with Poch because they came this close to winning so many trophies and it just never happened. They were this close to challenging for the title. It never happened. And Poch came out and said he didn't have the right level of quality, not in the starting 11, but squad depth as a whole. And that's true, because you remove Kane, you remove Son, you remove most of Poch's starting 11 in that Champions League final season and all the other seasons where he challenged for the title. I don't think Spurs is such a good team anymore. And it's the same story with United. You may think that United have the players to be third, fine. But you and I both know that our backup, our bench, it ain't good enough. If you think Mata, Matic, Lingard, Pereira, maybe McTominay, even though he's been really good with Fred, McTominay alone as a backup, I don't think those 5 players are that good. Dan James, Greenwood.
I think,
so have a long, hard think about that. I'm not pushing you towards either side. I just want you to think about it. That's all.
Yeah. I think a lot of it will depend on why you bring in Poch. I think for Spurs, it was right because they needed a manager like that. They were a struggling club, but they were in 8th, 7th, or 6th. And he built the club. He's a fixer.
That's fair.
He is.
He came in to lay the foundation.
Yeah. For us, it's a bit different. We need him to come in and take us to the next level and win trophies. And if he doesn't have money, it'd be very difficult for him to do that.
Yeah, so have a long, hard think about that. Because look, if you want my opinion personally, I'm not entertaining this Ollie in, Ollie out nonsense. Here's where I stand on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't want an interim, unless that interim is a proven manager with proven pedigree. I don't want an interim. I don't want Carrick or McKenna or Phelan in the job for 6 months so we can be singing Phelan's at the wheel when he goes on a 3-month magical run. I don't want that. I want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United to make Champions League football. That's my requirement. And then we'll talk about Ole in May. We'll have that conversation in May. But until they make Champions League football and they do that, I don't know where I stand. If we get knocked out of the Europa League and we don't make top 4, then I'm definitely not on the Ole train. But I still won't fully commit all my energy to saying Ole out because I still don't know who you bring in if they don't have a budget. And to sum it all up, I think if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does make Champions League football, and he still does manage to make top 4, so in other words, he makes it really far in the Europa League, or even wins the Europa League, and he's still in that 5th, 4th sort of region of the table. I don't know, I don't know, because I don't mind boring football if it gets us trophies. I don't. Mm-hmm. I don't. I've always been a defensive minded person.
The second in that instance.
Yeah, so, I want what's best for Manchester United, like all of you listening to the show. And I know that it's a very controversial topic because Manchester United fans actually want to watch a game of football and enjoy it rather than fall asleep on their couch and then have heart attacks when they hear the commentator screaming because they think we're 1-0 behind. I get it. I get it. I really do get it. But I'm a person who doesn't mind defensive football. Like, I genuinely don't mind it. I can watch other leagues of football. I'm not a Premier League fanatic because of the attacking football. It's entertaining, but it's not the only thing that's entertaining to me as a football fan. And I can live through defensive football as long as it gets us trophies. And if we do make Champions League, and we do it by winning the Europa League especially, I'm willing to give the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer debate a listen. That's all I'll say. Let us know in the comments down below what your opinions are. Don't forget to like the video. I think we've dragged this on for too long. It was supposed to end 20 minutes ago. So, gentlemen, good show. And thank you for listening. Peace out.